Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and this time I'll be playing Vampire the Masquerade, Shadows of New York. Now, I have very recently finished the first game by the developers of this one, called Coteries of New York. I'm not quite sure if Shadows of New York is a direct continuation, or is it more of a spin-off. But overall, I must say, I was rather disappointed by Coteries of New York, and I found it to be pretty bland. There were not many characters that I found interesting, and overall the game failed to draw me in, even though I am very much a fan of the setting, of the source material of Vampire the Masquerade. But I bought 3 visual novels set in the World of Darkness as a part of the bundle. It was Heart of the Forest, which is a werewolf visual novel. Then it was Coteries of New York, and then finally Shadows of New York. So I decided to give this one a try as well, see if it is an improvement over Coteries, at least in my opinion, if it will be or not. And if it's not, then oh well. But at least I will have tried it, and then I won't have the feeling of wasting my money on something that I never even tried. To be honest, they would have to try pretty hard to create something that I would find more like less interesting than Coteries of New York. So hopefully from that level they can only go up. What else? If you're interested in how I reacted to playing Coteries of New York and the werewolf game, there are links to the playlists in the description. And I guess for now I don't have anything else to say, so let's just begin the new game. Now there is a save slot here, but I've literally only read a couple of sentences on the first in the first scene, because I wanted to test the audio levels, the music and whatnot, the ambient. So let's just override that. Welcome to my castle, says someone, accompanied by visual of the moon, I guess. Don't expect everyday logic to work here. It went out of the window somewhere after midnight, maybe earlier. My kingdom is not of this world, you see. It lies far outside of concrete, tangible reality. Now, my kingdom is not of this world. I believe it's a quote from Jesus Christ, of all people, who, when asked by Pontius Pilate if he is the king, the king of the Jews, then he said something along the lines of, my kingdom is not of this world, as described here. It might not be an exact quote, but I do believe it is at the very least a paraphrase. Obviously, I'm more acquaintance with the Polish version of this Bible passage, of the Polish translation, because obviously I've been brought up Catholic, well, vaguely Catholic, you could say. My family was never overtly religious, but I observed all of the traditions of Catholicism until like middle school or something. So obviously I also attended what would you call it? Like I attended religious education at school, so we did read a little bit of the Bible. Let's continue. I've tried to identify the way people reach it, and I am convinced that it has something to do with the moon. What? That's weirdly specific. Like I assumed the narrator or whatever is talking about, it's an abstract talking point, but now they are sort of fixated on the moon, and there is an image of the moon in the background. So I don't know where this leads. Some may say that the moon's aura can turn them insane. You've heard phrases like moonstruck and lunatic. The way I see it, moonlight gives them some subliminal permission to reveal their true selves. And so, whenever they let the silver radiance guide them to the gates of this place, they feel different. Once they pass the doorstep, they are ready to act out. a dance of horrors and marvels begins. It's 3:31 a.m. Welcome to the Big Beat Burger. If you're here at this hour, you're not exactly readying up to be a productive member of society come tomorrow morning. More likely, you're praying that the sunrise never comes. Insatiable children of the night gather around, hoping to bask in the afterglow of tonight's victories, unwind after a frustrating series of failures, or simply fight to keep themselves together. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here, greedily revealing in every interaction they have. They have no idea. They are only here for my amusement. To them, I am just a random girl sitting in the corner. But this is my domain. I've been coming here almost every night for years. I know where to sit, where to look, and where to eavesdrop for maximum amusement. I'm basically a voyeur, and unashamed to admit it. It gave me insight about the human condition I'd never otherwise have gathered, and more importantly, a necessary skill set to make my ends meet as a journalist. Oh, so I guess I am, the game kind of tricked me into assuming I am already a vampire, because it specifically used the word domain, which vampires do claim domain over a particular area, and that's where they basically hunt, for example. But I guess I might not be. I'm maybe just a journalist, sitting at the bar at a late hour to, fish for gossip and the like. I guess it's going to be revealed soon enough. As I write on my crappy old laptop, patiently waiting for the legion of negative voices in my head to get too tired to offer useless feedback, I keep my senses peeled to pick up the stories around me. Of course, a lot of regular events, such as food fights, are nothing to write home about, aside from my unfortunate tendency to become collateral damage in someone else's battles. Up to this day, I have had to wash my clothes because of Coke, Diet Coke, hot coffee, apple pie, and some sort of improvised honey mustard bomb. Every stain tells a different story. Sometimes this hobby is exhausting, sometimes it is disturbing, sometimes it is dangerous, although not as risky as back when I wasn't carrying pepper spray. Okay, so judging from the pepper spray, I would say I'm still immortal. Like, if I was a vampire, I probably wouldn't need to carry pepper spray to feel safe. Still, the sights I've taken in over the years have made it absolutely worth it. I've got so many stories, I don't know where to begin. Theatrical breakups, impromptu mourning parties, unexpected friendships forged in the fires of a senseless battle. A lady in a gorgeous Givenchy? I don't know that if it's a brand or Givenchy dress, ordering a box of takeout chicken nuggets, paying in cash with her hands completely covered in blood. She was asked if she wants a napkin. She said no. Well, actually, that makes me wonder. I've never worked retail, and even less so on like a night shift. In the dead of night. But I wonder how weird is it? Like if you work on a gas station, for example, in some remote location. If you work, the night shift. How weird of an occurrence, how weird are the stories that you can tell of the people, just randomly, stumbling into your gas station or into your convenience store in the dead of night, I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't sound as unlikely as it might, at least for the States. I guess. Poland overall has a lot lower homicide rate, for example, than the United States. So, it's probably not as likely to just randomly stumble upon someone that has that has just killed somebody else or like been shot. But could happen. Like, maybe not shot specifically in Poland again, because there's a lot less firearms, but I guess you could meet someone who has been stabbed, for example, especially during, like, in some of the cities, there is quite a fierce rivalry between, like, football teams, and they actually beat each other up regularly using sharp instruments. Like, they've literally been cases in Poland where, the football hooligans, they've literally murdered each other with, like, machetes and stuff over their team affiliation, kind of. So, again, I wouldn't be as surprised. The two thirsty macho dudes shamelessly going for it in a corner. What? Hushed moaning filling the lobby where everyone around valiantly fights to act as usual and maintain an illusion of normalcy. Is she talking about going for it? Does she mean making out? Like, does she mean like gay dudes having sex in the corner? Like, I would find it kind of disturbing regardless if they are homosexual or straight. I don't think it's I don't think it's entirely okay to cross a certain threshold of intimacy in public, because obviously that might be kind of disturbing to other people who might not necessarily want to watch it. I imagine that's exactly where the saying "get a room" comes from. But I just don't entirely understand if she means that. Like, obviously I'm not a native English speaker, but I guess from the hushed moaning, I would have to assume that. A straight-up kung fu fight between a diminutive cashier and some drugged bodybuilder going through a psychotic episode, trying to break all of the windows. The big guy left the joint fully convinced he KO'd himself, while the service worker was just standing next to him. Seemed proud of his victory too. A middle-aged hag getting a heart attack after screaming her lungs out not to let the Muslims near her food just because she saw a white girl wearing a hairnet behind the counter. What? Screaming her lungs out not to let Muslims near her food just because she saw a white girl. Again, I don't quite understand this sentence. Like, is this sentence implying that the woman thought the girl behind the counter wearing a hairnet was Muslim because she confused the hairnet with like a hijab or something? I don't quite get it. A masked couple robbing the restaurant of 30 hamburgers, forcing the employees to cook at gunpoint. Police later said those were art students trying to reenact some hipster book they read. Okay, that's actually probably one of the weirdest scenarios I've read about so far. This is life. This is humanity at its worst and best. This is the noise that serves as the foundation for my creativity. This is the soma that keeps me going. This is... sigh. Or rather... As pathetic as it may sound, these days, this is the only place where I feel alive. Sometimes I think of myself as a leech, feeding on those people's stories, emotions and personalities, just because I'm not satisfied with mine. Oh, you just wait and see about that leech part. At times I think of my psyche as some kind of a shitty postmodern construct that is fundamentally incapable of honesty, but only yearns for something felt and truthful. Does this even make any sense? I look at the screen of my laptop. It's 3:47 a.m. At this point, I am almost somnambulic, but nothing interesting has happened yet. Feels like all of the customers are watching each other tonight, hoping for the others to provide a fun diversion. This is my turf, you parasitic douchebags. Next time, go find your own. I think it's time to call it a night. The coffee I always order so that they don't kick me out is undrinkable. I reread the rough draft I've been working on for the last 6 hours. God damn, this is pure trash. So I guess this is me. Apparently I'm playing a character called Julia. I hold the backspace button until the Google Documents page is nothing but a calm white slate and let out a sound of deep relief. There's no pleasure more intoxicating for a frustrated writer than ragging on someone even worse than them. And what target is easier than that dumb bitch you used to be 10 minutes ago? Okay, this is actually quite funny, but I guess in a way you could read it as somewhat profound. I guess I like this observation. Like I didn't expect it to go there. I didn't expect how this sentence ended. I checked the time again. I need to go. I have an important meeting tomorrow at 10 AM, and I have a hunch it's not going to end well. And it's not because I am an irresponsible dumbass who's going to need a few cups of coffee to simply function on a basic level despite like 4 hours of sleep. It's because I always have this hunch things are not going the way they are supposed to. Click clack, click click clack. The loud clatter of keyboards assaults me from all sides, makes this splitting headache unbearable. Used to be I dreamed of nothing else but being a part of the New York Lodge Star editorial team. It was the first magazine I started reading regularly, the first magazine I ever bought for myself. And now simply hearing the word Lodestar is enough to ruin my mood, never mind seeing all those old farts phoning in more reactionary opinion columns and Wikipedia level analysis of current events. More typing sounds, I guess. They used to destroy and rebuild my entire worldview every month. They shaped my thinking about politics, art, journalism. They even pointed me towards my favorite cigarette brand, for God's sake. Then some talented people started leaving for greener pastures. Some got too wrapped up in their own neuroses. Some became complacent. All of them committed the sin of allowing themselves to grow older. Fresh blood was deemed unnecessary, even though young freelancers kept being bled dry. These days, whenever someone from outside Lodestar talks about Lodestar, it's because of the few idealistic contributors willing to accept the meager pay while putting in serious work. Dumbasses. Other than that, the magazine specializes in publishing pale echoes of the provocative ideas I heard somewhere else a few years prior, wrapped up in an aesthetic that hasn't been cutting edge for over a decade. So basically I work at some kind of shitty paper. No wonder the readership is in freefall, but even though the ship is sinking, the old guard won't let it go down without a fight. As in, if anyone else from the outside attempts to board the vessel in hopes of fixing its course or its holes, they will be swiftly taken care of. I should know. I've been there, done that. As it stands, the only full-time staff member who doesn't make me regularly attempt to cringe my face off with his writing is this guy, or is... well, I guess I am going to see. Well, he coughs. Is Lodestar's editor-in-chief, Brian. Yeah, I guess it is this guy. Brian N.G., the man sitting in front of me right now. Of course, he only has time for editorials these days, and a drop in the sea of needs. Managerial duties hit him hard. It's the second time he lets out a theatrical cough like this. He said his piece, now it's up for me to react, and I'm coming up blank. But what did you want me to say, Brian? I'm pissed off. I can tell you've already made up your mind, but you still want me to get through the motions, just to make me feel listened to. Whatever, let's do this. Oh, okay, all of the options are kind of majorly disturbing, because judging from the context, we are going to have a talk about someone doing something wrong and illegal at work and him covering up for him? I guess, well, do I want it to be fraud, or do I want it to be like I don't want it to be any of those, I guess, but it has to be something. You're protecting a complete piece of shit. I guess let's go with fraud. It's less personal than sexual harassment. Brian, the guy is guilty of a major fraud. My article isn't even something like lashing out at the rich and hoping they don't hit back. I think Double Spiral's investors would appreciate being told they are being scammed. That's if, and that's a big if, they are not a conscious part of the scam. Oh, come on. And even if they weren't, I doubt they would be generous enough to protect us from the fallout. Oh, so I guess it's not about somebody at work, it's about my article? I wrote an article about somebody else committing fraud, but the editor is worried about the legal ramifications and the legal consequences. You're avoiding the core of the issue. No, I believe I've pinpointed it in a precise way. If it were up to me, I would greenlight the article here and now, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But you're killing the article off just because some rich shithead told you he doesn't like it. Get real, this is not about some millionaire jerk calling me to make an offer. I can't refuse. What is it about then? Because it looks awfully like... It's about my bosses telling me this outlet can't afford the legal action we've already been threatened with. So, millionaire interference. Oh, for crying out loud, Julia, don't make me treat you like a child. You know how this works. I publish your story, it's Thiel versus Gawker all over again, a lawsuit here, a lawsuit there, until we are bled dry. I have a mortgage, I have 3 mouths waiting at home to be fed, I have an amazing team that doesn't deserve to be torn apart over some... Don't you think it's telling that you mentioned your mortgage first? Silence. Just asking questions. I know better than to get these into those empty semantic arguments with you, Miss Savinsky. Oh, so I guess I'm a Polish immigrant. At least, I am of Polish descent. I might be a child of Polish immigrants, but I have a Polish surname. Julia Savinsky, or Julia, if you would, to read it in Polish. You're good at them. The problem is, you're still not good enough. Meaning? You're too in love with weaving a good story and establishing a seductive narrative to let facts get in the way. You've got enough boring suits with no principles on board these days. They always give you facts because that is all that they can do. I'm using facts as a way to approach some kind of truth. Okay, to be honest, that sounds like bullshit. Like, that sounds like some rationalization of, because how can facts are already true? Like, that's the thing about facts. You cannot be, if you just state them out plainly, then that is indeed the truth, because that's the definition of a fact. At the point where you start to sort of build a narrative, then I believe, in my opinion at least, it actually leads you further away from the truth, because in fact it has been demonstrated multiple times by the media in the real world how you can take the exact same facts and then spin, totally different narratives using them. Except facts can blindside you, and Double Spiral has enough facts to water down your story to the point where it makes no sense to publish it. Their HR and PR are working overtime to deliver a convincing counter-narrative, and they are doing a great job. Won't mitigate the damage completely, but will put every little thing in question. Jesse Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, and a sexual predator, and downright satanic fuckhead. Well, actually, I'm not sure what having... Like, is it is satanic some kind of, overall general insult in the Anglosphere? Because if he is literally a Satanist, as in, the practitioner of the belief of Satanism, then I don't feel like that's relevant. Like that, as far as I know, that is not illegal. There is literally a church of Satan in the States, and I do believe in one of the states they actually rather epically trolled one of the magistrates by having like a statue of Baphomet erected before the magistrate building, because they first erected like a stela with the 10 Commandments, and the Church of Satan they challenged it on the grounds of religious freedom and on the grounds of like giving preferential treatment to a certain religion, which was against the idea of the freedom of religion in the States. So they also then founded their own statue of like Baphomet or something, and they put it right besides it. I'm going to look up for the relevant news article and put it in the description. Julia, let me say it again. Jesse Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead. Do you personally believe it or not? This is not... You've listened to the tapes, you've read the transcripts, you've seen the documents, you've got all the files. I'm asking for your personal opinion. Do you believe it or not? Some more typing sounds? Of course I do, but that's besides the point. It's not. Look, how about I just say it out loud and save us both some time? We are not having this conversation because there's an actual conversation to be had. You've set up this meeting knowing very damn well that there is only one way this is going to end. You've got a mortgage and 3 mouths to feed. You prioritize the well-being of your direct surroundings over some nebulous concept of a greater good. I get it, I really do. Yet for some reason, it seems like you're only prolonging this conversation and rationalizing your decision so that I forgive you, officially exonerate you. Oh, so is he firing me? Like, is he not only refusing to publish my story, but also firing me from my job? I'm not the bad guy here, Julia. To be honest, I get him. Like, I personally am an idealist. I do believe in the value of truth and in the value of doing what is right, but I do realize at the same time that the real world is not conducive to this very binary view of reality, and that most people can't really function with such a rigid approach to what is right and what is not. And I understand that sometimes the consequences that might arise from them doing the right thing, or what you at least believe to be the right thing, might be overwhelming to them, and I don't really blame them, unless, like, I guess there are situations in which I would blame them. For example, if it led to the death of someone, or like, I guess it's difficult for me to gauge on the spot, but I could imagine situations in which I would blame them, and I would think it's like, I no longer, I can no longer sort of forgive them for doing that. But I feel like, even though I might not agree with him, and I might not agree with prioritizing, for example, the safety of your own family and their well-being over general principles of what I believe is right, then at the very least I understand it, and I don't personally, I don't begrudge him to a degree, to such a large degree as you might think at first glance. But I guess, judging from my options, the protagonist is not particularly... Oh, I guess I have an option of saying I wouldn't say you are, but I guess this is more interesting to sort of turn it back on him. So what are you? What are you then, in your own words? A man who does what is necessary to protect his own. So I don't count as your own anymore? He mutters something under his breath, ending with a self-pitying chuckle. I don't know if you would even want to work under a scumbag like me from now on. Oh, come on, don't turn this into a pity party. No, I'm absolutely a scumbag. And why is that? Because you're firing me? Yeah, that's what I figured. But to be honest, I don't think this is going to be a surprise to the protagonist, because it already kind of sounded like it. Oh. Well, I guess maybe she is surprised. My thoughts are scrambled. For a brief moment, the state of my bank account displays before my eyes with startling clarity. A howling void opens in my chest and starts traveling towards my stomach. No, don't panic yet, you idiot. Get more information. Now, there must be a catch. Is this final? They told me there will be consequences if the outlet ever picks up your work again. I shouldn't even be telling you that. Wait, so why is he firing me? Like, did they publish the paper and then did they publish my article and then they had to retract it? And are they punishing me for it? Because from the sound of it, I assumed he's not allowing it to be printed, but if it has not been printed, then they are not liable, and I'm not sure why should I be punished for something that, officially it didn't happen, because if we didn't print it, then, it didn't happen. I did everything in my power to change their mind. I'm sorry. They? What they? Who is they? He glances left and right and then points upward for a short moment. When he speaks again, it's a hushed voice. You know, the big kahunas, can't really question them, and they wanted your head on a silver plate. He's not looking me in the eye. You're not joking. I would never joke about stuff like this. It's real. Fucking hell, it's real. Damn it all to hell. All these years, all this grind, all my plans. And for what? You fucking asshole, you know I deserve better. I have always deserved better, and it always ends with me going down the drain, back to the sewers. Fuck. No. Take a few deep breaths. Don't lose the plot now. Keep yourself together, you idiot. The moment you show weakness, they go for your throat. Get back in control. You can't do this. I wish I didn't have to, but it's a lost cause. No, I mean, it's impossible. Julia, you can't fire someone who has never been hired in the first place. It takes him a few seconds to put his "oh, I get it" face, lets out a troubled gasp and starts massaging his temples. Lodestar has been my biggest source of income for the past years, that much is true, but technically, nobody has ever hired me here. It was all freelance jobs. Oh, well, I guess that makes it easier because they are just not going to pick up her work again. But it makes me wonder, could you fire somebody for... Because I don't understand the logistics of it. I don't... Like, if they published it, then obviously it's their fault. Because if they did publish it, then obviously they could have stopped it. So if they gave me permission to have it published, then I should not be punished for that. And if they did not publish it, then what would they be firing me for? And could they even do that? Because maybe they could, for all I know. The labor laws in the States are much more lax when it comes to like the reasons and the exact terms on which your employer might fire you. Like from obviously I don't know the details. I have never worked in the States, I am not an American, and I've never read that much about it, but I do know it's a lot easier to lose your job in the States compared to Europe. So maybe they could have fired me on the spot, basically because they wanted to. Maybe it's actually legal. No. With the States being the quote-unquote land of the free, like maybe the rule of the free market or whatever dictates that your employer can fire you because he doesn't like your stupid face or something. That wouldn't even surprise me that much, to be honest. A full-time position only served as a kind of a dangling carrot, a promise of a decent pay grade, career perspectives, maybe even some kind of an insurance to save my failing health. And the recognition I would get for being a part of the Lodestar team, a position that everyone around me seems to respect, aside from me. Then why did I want it so much? There will be time to mourn what could have been. For now I should act like I don't care. You know what I mean. If I let you work, even under a fake name, it would be a guillotine for me. This is ridiculous. You know I'm going to start shopping this story around the second I leave this room, don't you? Of course I know. I told them. Any response? Let us worry about that. Well, that doesn't sound ominous at all. More typing. I do wonder if I could get accustomed to one of those loud mechanical keyboards some people here love to use. Whenever I did my work in here, I was still expected to bring my own crappy laptop and sit closer to the lobby. Always on the outside, no matter how hard I try to break in. A vibration in my pocket feels like a bad omen. I decided to ignore it for now. I've been working on this fucking story for, I don't know, 16 months on and off? I know. You kept cheering me on. I know. We have even agreed on the pay I would receive. I know. I'm 2 months behind on my rent. No, wait, 2.5. I catch him off guard. He is momentarily taken aback and then gives me an empathetic stare. Don't you look at me this way. You don't have the right. I didn't know. Well, now you do. Look, if there's anything I can do to help... if you can't tell your big kahunas to fuck off, I don't think there is a single thing. Julia. I pull out a smoke and light it up. Gotta get it back in control. Please don't do that. There's a smoke detector here. No worries. Nick turned it off a few weeks ago. Probably the most creative thing he has done in these past 5 years. Good old Nick, the perfect 21st century cinema reviewer. Never has an original thought on his own, just relies on his purely algorithmic taste to stay likable. And the best thing is, it works. Funny, I used to dream about his job. It was Brian who killed this dream, making me realize Nick won't be unseated anytime soon, and offered to teach me the ways of an investigative journalist instead. Wasn't a career I ever wanted to pursue, but to my dismay, I turned out to be surprisingly good at it, until this Montgomery thing happened. Serves me right, lessons learned, should have pursued my dreams instead. Stop it. Nicholas is a good friend, a respected critic, a member of my team, and put out that smoke. People tell me I let you step all over me. Why do I even let you act this way? Because he once told me honesty is the most important thing in a mentor-student relationship, and that it works both ways, and because I thought we were friends. He bites his lip and stares sideways to avoid my eyes. At the end of the day, both bosses aren't friends. I must have been a terrible mentor if I didn't even teach you that. I guess, I feel like this conversation is over. Like, it has been over for like 10 minutes, and dragging it on, it seems pointless to me at this point. Just say nothing. The best I can do for now is just stay silent. I don't feel too stable right now, like I could explode any second. Julia, I might have failed as a guide, but I will do what I can not to leave you stranded, okay? There are options. None of them are a remedy for all your troubles, but... Wait a second. Another vibration in my pocket, another foreboding feeling. This time I reluctantly take out the smartphone out of my pocket. If it has to rain, why not let it pour? A new email. It's a lengthy one. And the sender? Speak of the devil, is it my landlord? No, this can't be. Christ. I just got an email from Mila Lopez. She claims she has just been laid off from the double spiral, same as Mike Antonoff and Jared Rivera. What? What happened? I spare you all of her insults, okay? The key thing is, it seems that their HR knows all about the confidential information about my journalistic investigation and used it to shut everyone's mouth. Hell, apparently Montgomery walked up to Lopez and as she was emptying her desk and told her to thank me for being a, quote, dumb and careless cunt. Brian goes pale. I think he has a very good reason to. You fucking scumbag. You outed my sources? What? Of course not. What are you even saying? Oh, don't you dare play coy. It must have been either you or me, no one else. And you know the way I work. My investigation was basically untraceable, both on and offline. Carefully picked meeting spots, encryption upon encryption, every direct quote rewritten 5 times just in case, all sorts of red herrings scattered around. I know my shit. You know I do. And this timing? Did you just pass a flash drive to your beloved Big Kahunas during the meeting as a sign of goodwill? Look, I get you're upset, but why don't we just talk through this more calmly? Well, I guess I don't really have a calm option to use, and I don't see any functional difference between those. So let's just take it step by fuck you. Fury takes the wheel, and I am just here along the ride. I can't do anything about it. In a deranged way, realizing you're just a passenger in your own body feels liberating. Let's just see it all unfold. Calmly, fuck you, Brian. Julia. I've been paranoid for months and months, acting like everyone I didn't know was an assassin or a corporate spy. I know I haven't messed up. Not in a way that would implicate all of them. You thought you could get away with this? I haven't done anything improper. Don't push the blame on me. So what, you're claiming it's my fault? Because you're never the guilty one. It's always the bosses, the economy, the obligations you have, and now me? You're being silly. Quit with this martyr bullshit. Calm down, or I will have to... You're an immoral shithead. You motherfucking... Calm down, for God's sake. And so it goes. I yell out a lot of words I wanted to say for a long time, but held back. I fling a lot of insults I've been workshopping for years, hoping I would never use them. I break a few things. At times, for a split second, I see a pity in somebody's eyes. It's going to haunt me for a long time, but in the heat of the moment, I don't care. These people, no, this company has nothing left to offer me, so at least let me take the catharsis. In the end, a security guard has to escort me out of the building, and that's the end of my journalistic career. I feel like my world has just crumbled into nothing. And I feel like this might be a decent enough point to end this first episode. So yeah, I think I'm going to end it here. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!